Hi, my name is Josh Lehman, and today I'll be walking you through Opticom Priority Control as a Service, also referred to as PCAS. As part of our agenda, we'll first understand how PCAS allows you to get the green light when you need it by maximizing your resources, and finally, a customer success story. So, before we can understand how PCAS can benefit your agency, let's first understand the challenges facing public safety agencies. In 2016, in the United States, for example, vehicle crashes were the second leading cause of fatal firefighter injuries for the year, almost 4 times the previous year's total. In that same year, there were over 15,000 collisions involving fire department vehicles, with 700 firefighter injuries resulting from these collisions. So using these two statistics, we can see that there's a need to help improve safety for response vehicles that are heading towards incidents. As part of that, Opticom allows several different benefits, including a 75% reduction in crash rates at the intersection, but also improves response rates by 25%. By doing this, we're able to see improved outcomes with faster access to care for citizens, as well as decreased liability for crashes with other motorists. And finally, by reducing the number of stops at intersections, we're able to reduce maintenance costs, which includes improved fuel economy and reduced maintenance on, for example, things like braking systems. So the way that we're able to deploy priority control as a service is using multiple different architectures depending on what their exact needs of the city are or for that specific agency. So for example, we have our distributed architecture. This is a point-to-point communication between the vehicle and the intersection using equipment on both the vehicle and intersection. This is what we call our distributed approach. With a centralized approach, which is our new approach, we're able to provide priority control as a service using vehicle data on the intersection, sending that communication through the cloud or an on-premise server environment, and then sending a preemption request directly to the intersection. So PCAS is a newer offering by GTT, as traditionally Opticom has been sold in a traditional model. In a traditional model, customers purchase equipment and own and maintain and operate the equipment on the vehicle and at the intersection. In this case, there's an upfront purchase and then ongoing maintenance by the customer. As our solutions evolved, we've also deployed our managed services. So in this case, customer-owned hardware, where GTT will monitor the hardware and maintain it on an ongoing basis. Finally, as part of the expansion of our offerings, GTT provides PCAS, which is Priority Control as a Service. This allows you to get the green light for an annual fixed fee where GTT takes care of the rest. As part of this offering, there's no upfront capital expense as it's a service. There's also nothing that you own, maintain, or operate, as GTT includes all hardware, software, and services required for the system operation and the system installation. Finally, as we discussed earlier, GTT provides a variety of flexible deployment options, making sure that we can leverage your existing infrastructure to provide a faster return on investment. So some of the services that's provided as part of the PCAS, our Priority Control as a Service, includes preparation, installation, and configuration of the system. This includes everything from a site survey to the go live, including any necessary installation and training. We monitor the system using a secure cloud environment where everything is hosted in the cloud, allowing for quicker access to maintenance, which is covered by GTT. As part of the system maintenance, we ensure that the operational status of the system, including being proactive about deploying resources for repair or replacement of equipment in the field. Finally, using our help desk support customers have access to GTT's experts at any time during business hours, allowing for critical issues to be communicated within an hour and resolved within the same day if possible. So now that we understand the different services that's included as part of PCAS, let's better understand the different architectures that can be deployed as part of PCAS as well. So first, as we discussed earlier, there's a distributed architecture where you have equipment on the vehicle and equipment at the intersection. Typically, this is done through a radio communication. As a vehicle approaches the intersection, they're able to communicate over the radio to the intersection to request a green light. Secondly, we have our centralized architecture. And this type of architecture, a vehicle doesn't need to have any hardware or software and can use existing equipment to send data to the Opticom central platform using their existing cellular network. That central platform will then determine when a preemption request needs to be sent to the intersection based on distance or ETA to the intersection for that specific vehicle. We can then send the request either through the traffic management system, for example, using their advanced traffic management system to collect the request and then forward it down to the intersection controller. We could also send the request directly to the controller at the intersection. And finally, use maybe your existing Opticom equipment, such as your Opticom face selectors, to be able to receive the request and communicate the controller a preemption request. Using a centralized approach, customers have been able to deploy Opticom without needing any hardware at the intersection or on the vehicle, and they're able to utilize their existing investments. Finally, we offer a hybrid approach. This is a combination of our centralized offering with our distributed offering, and it can include using the customer existing infrared technology to be used as a backup communication to the intersection, with the primary request going centrally to the cloud-hosted platform. This is a great way for customers to transition from a distributed type architecture to a centralized architecture for the future. So as part of a customer success story, we wanted to bring up Harris County, which is our most recent success story of a customer using the Priority Control as a Service, or PCAS. So Harris County had 450 intersections and 250 vehicles that they wanted preemption for. As part of this, they had a few challenges. First, they were the fastest growing county in the United States, as Houston is now the third largest city in the United States. As part of this, they had massive mutual aid requirements, as they had many different emergency service districts in the region that need to all be able to be supported on this type of system. And finally, they had concerns around natural disaster and need for high speed of support and future proofing of the system. Because of these challenges, GTT worked with them to come up with a hybrid Opticom solution. In this way, they're using cellular communication to the intersection to be able to provide a preemption request without any limitations on range. But if cellular communication were to go down, for example, they would still have the backup communication using their Opticom radio. And this way, they're able to have redundancy in the system to make sure that they're able to get a green light when they need it at those intersections. Through the testing that we did and now the deployment, Opticom surpassed performance and service support requirements and expectations that the customer had. Because of this, we've been further expanding across the county to many other different emergency service districts because of the benefits that they're seeing, both from the lack of ownership required, this flat annual fee, and then finally, the way that the system is able to integrate with their existing technologies. So finally, as a recap, Opticom Priority Control as a Service allows you to get the green light to deliver better outcomes. You're able to decide the best way to make those improvements is we're able to utilize a lot of your existing infrastructure, for example, in a centralized type approach. And because of that, there's no need to rip and replace. You're able to leverage your existing infrastructure investments. So whatever you have, GTT can work with you to find a solution that best fits your city's needs. Thank you.